Hey, it's good to be here. It's good to be up this early.
Yeah, you're an hour behind us, aren't you?
Did you survive the night?
Yeah, well, yes and yes, and no. Yeah, I did survive the night. We actually were at the track till, probably 11 o'clock, and I came back into town with, I call them the crew guys, but it's about $1 million brain trust of crew chiefs from our Full Throttle series, with Seba Coletta's crew chiefs and Tommy Delago, who's Matt Hagan, my teammate's crew chief, and some of DSR's crew members. And so we had a small problem on the car yesterday. Ran 91 and got us in 12th. And we decided Dell had bought one of these new Wazoo superchargers Mert Littlefield makes, and we haven't put it on yet. And a couple of guys that do have them on have run low ET of the world in the class. So went ahead and tried to put it on. Of course, nothing fit and nothing bolted right on. So the guys worked really hard last night. It was freezing cold, and they got it done about 11. I came into town, had a couple cold ones with them, and I went to bed.
Very nice. Now, what are you doing? You racing down there? You're having a good time? I mean, and I often ask the drag racers that go to the March meet. You have a weekend off, which is almost unheard of during your season to have a weekend off, and yet you go to the drag strip to drag race again.
Well, for me, this started this kind of a passion with the Nostalgia series when the good guys ran it. And I mean, I don't want to make a lengthy answer, but basically the first time I did it, I was driving for Don Perdome at the time, and I just had a blast. I drove Jeff Gaynor's car at the time and got into the 5-second club that they have for Nostalgia drag racing. And, I just tell you, there's a passion. It spread the word about it. And next thing you know, guys are building more and more cars. And now there's over 32 cars here at the March meet, I think, trying to make the 16-car show. So it's a lot like the old days. And it's just a great group of people that race them. It's a lot of old-time racers and a lot of guys that ran alcohol funny car that just got kind of tired of the rule changes and everything going on in NHRA with the alcohol classes and just said, heck with it, I'm going to go back to doing what my dad did or what I did, and they built nitro funny cars. So, and Del Worsham and just all these guys I mentioned before, we look forward to it. At our race in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago in the staging lanes, we weren't talking about what was coming up the next round. We're all talking about the March meet and how much fun we're going to have. It's just it's relaxing for us, but we're here to win, but it's a blast. And so for me, it's what I did as a kid. I came to the March meet every year with my mom and dad, and so it's kind of a personal thing for me.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed how many cars there are, and how many new cars there are, and how many of the restoration of some of the most storied funny cars and top fuelers, in the sport. It was pretty cool to see Mike Cook Jr. Driving the recreation of the Stonewoods and Cook Dark Horse car. That was. It's amazing how many people are here and how excited, how big. I mean, the nostalgia racing has just gone crazy. Here it is, a Friday afternoon. It's not even beer 30 yet, and the stands were packed. It amazes me how many people just absolutely love this. It's like taking you back to your youth.
Yeah, today's going to be nuts. The reunion and the March meet are both crazy, but I think I tweeted a picture on my Twitter or our Facebook fan page. I put stuff up on before the reunion. If you go back and look, there's a picture that's an aerial shot of the March meet, I think a couple of years ago, and it's unbelievable how many people show up. The line of cars goes out this road almost to Highway 99. Today will probably be like that. So, yeah, to kind of on top of your answer about people building these period correct cars and these old cars. I mean, Del Worsham kind of started it when he built the Blue Max, and that's what I'm driving now. Although the body's sitting in the shop a little scraped up after we knocked the body off of it last year, but he built the car 118 inch wheelbase, just like Raymond Beadle ran the Blue Max back in the day. So Del kind of started it with this car, and he built it just like it was before. And I love the fact these guys come out with these cars that look just like the old days. I don't like some of them that come out and look as swoopy as my NAPA Auto Parts car, and extending the front ends and big spoilers on them. I don't think that's right. So I'm really working with NHRA to try to make sure we keep guys from doing that, because you want to keep it kind of, you don't want this to turn into what it did back in the day that almost killed the class, and that was guys showing up with millions and trillions of dollars and big rigs and big old bodies on them with spoilers, and want to keep it the way it was. So it's a fine line, but man, we're here to have fun.
Tell me a little bit about how you feel your funny car program's going in NHRA. Of course, you ran Phoenix a week ago. You're sitting now, I believe 5th or 6th in points. You're right there. I mean, you haven't had a bad year so far.
No, heck no. We lost the semifinals of Pomona by less than a foot, I think it was, to Mike Neff. And, had we won that, we would have gone in the final round with force, and who knows what would happen. In Phoenix, we ran pretty good. Again, I lost to Neff. I see a trend forming here. I'm going to have to take care of Mike. But that's one of the toughest cars there is on the planet right now is Mike Neff. So we have nothing to hang our heads. We didn't beat ourselves. We didn't smoke the tires. Phoenix, we did. We got put in that left lane, but we had a great start. I've got Tim Richards, the general, and look at what he's done in the past. He's so much fun to show up at the track, and I drove for Ed Ace McCulloch for a lot of years, and I just love driving for these old school guys that approach it that way. So I guarantee it. We're going to be in the winner's circle soon. I could see it. I could see the way Tim operates, the way the crew is, and the way the car runs, and I've got so much more confidence. So I have no qualms worrying about how our performance will be. And, it's going to be a long year. And this countdown kind of takes the intensity out of having to focus on points every race. You're looking down the road at the countdown and making yourself the best you could be at the end of the year. But, we have that Traxxas showdown. They're having an Indy like the Big Bud Shootout used to be for the $100,000 is back. And so you got to win a race to get into it. So I really don't have any a part of me that's lacking confidence will be in the winner's circle. So I'm looking forward to Gainesville, Florida next weekend.
Are you real happy with where the team's at right now, Ron?
Yeah, I am. The team, we got a bunch of young kids that's been with me a long time, and they love working for Tim Richards. He's taught them a lot. Kim, his wife, is an incredible clutch person, with knowledge. Dick Lahey's daughter that married Tim Richards. I feel really good about our team. And Don Schumacher, he gives us everything. And it's unbelievable. A shop, 110,000 square foot shop in Indy that's filled with the best sponsored cars on the planet in drag racing. Basically, you walk in there and you look around, and the Army team and the Fram team and Matco and just all these teams, it's incredible. And the amount of talent they have in crew chiefs that at the end of the day, I come in on a trailer and there's Tommy DeLago sitting down with Tim Richards and Mike Green and Ron Tobler, and it's a pretty neat deal. Brian Karate and Mark Oswald. I mean, it's neat to walk around and just look around and stop sometimes and say, look what we got going on here. So got a great team. Really do. I'm pumped about it. I'm more afraid of racing my own teammates, I'm telling you, than I am Force cars or anything. These fans come up and they say, beat Force, and I said, I'm not worried about them right now. If I got to race one of my teammates, I'm pretty pumped up for it.
So with the change of bringing Tim Richards onto the team, how much pressure is that taken off of you as a driver, not having to? I mean, you still have to be prepared for it because of the inevitable something's going to happen. But it seems like since Tim's come on, there's been a lot less.
Are you out of the track?
Yeah.
Oh. Hey, you sound like you're in a porta potty. I can barely hear you.
And
there's a lot of porta potties out there.
I had to hide in the motorhome, so it'd be kind of a little bit quieter.
You're one of the few that has cell service then.
Yeah, thank you, Verizon. It's pretty empty, though.
Yeah, nice plug. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, just how much easier is it, as a mindset in climbing in that car with Tim Richards, pulling the switches on it? Because it seems like you seem to have a lot of breakage, parts breakage, and I know you still have to be prepared for anything that happens, but is it a little bit easier on you mentally getting in the car and having the confidence in your crew chief that you do now?
Oh, no, he brought immediate confidence to me when he showed up. And it's just the way he massages. He's very involved with the parts. I've got a great amount of confidence since he came on board. And I was telling somebody yesterday in an interview, I find myself going up there and staging a car, and when he walks away from me and points me up to stage the car, I really want to make him proud. I don't even think about who I'm racing sometimes or even what's going on. I want to make him as proud as I can be on doing the best I can do in the cockpit and being consistent with everything. If I do everything consistent as I can do it on the burnout and keep everything exactly the same, like a robot basically, with the amount of time it takes me for the backup and all that stuff, that takes a lot off of his plate, and he's able to concentrate on the run. If you get some drivers do a longer burnout here, do a shorter one here that really lightens up the fuel, it can change a lot in the car. And then on the run, it's so important to try to stay in the groove and keep the car as straight as possible, which is very hard to do. But I just find myself really, he prepares the car so well. I want to make sure I do the best job, and all the rest of that's icing on the cake. When it runs good and we win and all that. But the best part of a guy like that, the experience in championships and the motto and all that stuff, the best compliment I can get is when he doesn't say anything to me. When we get back from a run, and when he does say good job, holy smokes! I mean, that's big to hear from a guy like that. So. It's a great relationship, I think, and I really feel like he's been that missing piece of the puzzle. Ace has been gone.
I think we lost Steve, but that's okay. Folks, we're talking with Ron Capps. He's the driver of the NAPA funny car. Ron, you and I are a lot alike. One of my favorite funny car drivers, just because of one reason and one reason only. And of course, I'm a huge circle track NASCAR fan, oval track fan, and I like drag racing. Don't get me wrong, but we joke on the show. Steve's more the drag racing guy, and I'm more the oval track guy. But you do a lot of oval track racing as well, and you ran a lot of dirt modified there in Junior Herrera's car. Tell us about some of your oval track experiences.
Well, I get obviously I don't know where to start. I've always loved circle track racing, dirt racing, but I got to be friends with Tony Stewart, when I drove for Don Prudhomme, and went and raced a Chili Bowl driving for him as teammates with Kenny Schrader and Danny Lasowski and some other guys. And it kind of grew from there. And then Tony had the Prelude to the Dream the very first year. And there weren't too many big-name guys like there is now. I mean, now it's pay-per-view, and it's on a Wednesday night, and it draws all kinds of fans. And we raise well over $1 million every year to go to whatever charity Tony decides. But it kind of started there, and I've been in every one of the Preludes in the first year with Kenny Wallace and Schrader and Tony Stewart and a few guys, and then it grew, and then all of a sudden he announced the pay-per-view, and we had Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson and Juan Montoya, and every year it's gotten bigger and bigger, and I hear the announcement is there might be a girl added to the Prelude this year, and I don't think Tony's announced it yet, but we can all imagine who that will be. And that's going to bring a whole new viewership already to the millions of people that watch it on, I think it's June 6th. And it's just been fun. So what I do is I try a couple times a year, at least, I hope. Sometimes it's been once. It used to be never. I just showed up to Prelude and drove. And these late models are unbelievable, as you know, to drive. Very hard to drive, and those good drivers make it look easy. But, I'll race in April 21st, I think, in Hanford, California on a 3/8 mile in a dirt modified. And usually Santa Maria at the track there in either a late model or dirt modified, just to get some seat time for June 6th. And then, that's the big time Eldora, half-mile high bank. I drive a nitro funny car that makes over 8,000 horsepower. Excuse me. And 4 seconds over 330 miles an hour at times, and there's nothing that will challenge your courage more than going into turn 3 wide open at Eldora in a late model. It's unbelievable, and it's so much fun. And now that you're surrounded by Clint Boyer and Jimmy Johnson and Gordon and all these greatest drivers in the world, it's so much fun. So I look forward to that. So to answer your question, I love doing it. And I think it helps me in the funny car when it loses traction. I've got to pedal and get car control. I really believe the dirt racing does help. But more than that, it's just a lot of fun.
Would you ever want to leave NHRA and jump into NASCAR full time and go that direction with Michael Waltrip Racing?
No, not now in my career. When I drove for Don Prudhomme, I went and tested with IROC, and they were trying to get me in the following year. They ended up losing their sponsorship, which was a bummer. But I went and tested with IROC at Talladega twice, and at Chicagoland twice, and I ran around with Dick Trickle and a couple of their test drivers, and they had Jimmy Johnson and Elio Castroneves, a bunch of guys that were in IROC that were there, and I got to go out and run those cars, and I was looking for no drag race that had ever done it, so I was pretty pumped about it, and it was a bummer they lost the sponsorship, but at that time when I was younger, yeah, maybe, but I'm at the top of the food chain with the team I drive for, Don Schumacher, and it would, maybe 10 years ago, but I still get to go jump in one of those cars if I want to and just go run around or, so I get enough of that, but there's nothing on the planet like a fuel funny car. I mean, I get to go drive sprint cars, midgets, road race cars all the time, and there still is nothing that compares to driving a fuel funny car.
So I'm looking, and you have two children. You have Taylor, who's 15, and Caden, who's 10. Is that right? Are they interested in any of this, or are they going to get behind the wheel? Are we going to?
Yeah, I bought Caden a go-kart. We've only been out a few times. He drives me nuts because when I was a kid, I would do anything to go out in a go-kart. I built my own go-kart, in the garage practically out of nothing just to go run around in the dirt by our house. But there's so much now with kids. I mean, he's playing soccer, and he's got baseball now, and video games and all that stuff that sometimes, I say, let's go take your go-kart out. And he's like, can we just go tomorrow? It drives me crazy, but I got to let him do what he's going to do. But we've talked about junior dragsters, and he'd love to do it. My daughter did it when she was 8, had a blast when that movie with Erica Enders came out. She got real excited about it, and we went out and we had some great people, junior drag racing league, that lent their car to my daughter at the time and let her try it, because I'm on the road all the time with what I do for a living with racing, so I wouldn't have a whole lot of time to prep it and get ready. And I had several families that offered to get a car together and keep it and take her, and just she'd have to show up, and that was really cool. That kind of showed you what the whole league's all about. But we'll see. Hopefully, Caden will come around a little bit in the racing.
Very nice. Well, we'll let you get back to it. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, Ron. Good luck to you in NHRA, and have a good time out there at the March meet.
Thanks, man. Hey, and we'll tell them we'll see them out of the porta potties at the track here in a bit.